Osir, yes.
Osir.
Hello, everybody. This is Muhammad Ibrahim, again, guide of Egypt, talking to you from Giza Plateau, but this time we are very close to the Sphinx.
Welcome back. Naya Chai. No, don't want it. Back want it?
You can see the three pyramids, the background, and the Sphinx here in the middle. Okay, let's go closer. So every night we have here the sound and light show. Lasts for 1 hour, some kind of nice music. And the speaker will be the Sphinx himself, telling you the story of Egypt, using the voice of our famous actor Omar Sharif. So this is supposed to be the official entrance, not Giza Plateau, not the entrance of Giza Plateau, but will be the official entrance of the second pyramid. فين يا عم؟ فين يا عم سجلتي؟ صباح الفل. ولا ده ولا ده. ايوه. So this area, as you can see, naturally, after it was raining, because it was raining hard in the last week, so we can see that lower level was water. This was a place where we used to have like a small dock for the ships. But some people will tell you, yes, because the Nile used to run next to Giza Plateau. That is wrong. It wasn't the Nile itself, but it was the flood time. The Nile is about 10 miles away, but during the flood, which between July and October, that was the flood season, and sometimes the flood was great flood. So the water will come to this level, and then some small boats, not big ships, small boats can come to the place. Okay.
So this.
Yeah, this higher level, this is now higher level, but it wasn't higher level at that all time. It was lower level, the same, even lower than this level now. Okay, but all of it, because the Nile, the flood used to cover all of the, you can see those buildings, all of it. One day it was just green land, so the flood used to cover it all. And the main access to the complex of this area is this temple. This is what we call it, the Valley Temple, because it's close to the valley. And then there is a causeway, like a link between this temple and the temple there. Okay. And we have the Sphinx in the beginning of the complex, which most of the people think that the Sphinx is related to the second pyramid, but we don't have any evidence saying this. And when we will get close, we will see that the Sphinx, because you will see some pictures on Facebook or in Google wrongly, showing that the Sphinx is on the center of the pyramid. No, it is not. The Sphinx is off center. Okay. That's why we are going to talk about what is the relationship between the Sphinx and the pyramids, and also we will talk about the story of Dr. Robert Schoch, about redating the area according to the erosions we will see around the Sphinx. So let's go close. So here again we will see that they used limestone, but also huge blocks of limestone and granite. And inside the building we are going to see alabaster,
Those red ones are
the granite. And we call it rose granite of Aswan because we have gray granite, black granite, other kinds of dark granite, and other types of red granite from Sinai. But why rose granite is the most important and it was widely used by the ancient Egyptians? Because it has the highest amount of crystal or quartz, 13%. The other types of granite has from 3 to 5%. And quartz is needed in this kind of function if we talk about energy. This is one of the interesting stones. You can see this stone is upside down. It's supposed to be at the top here, decorating the top of the wall, like a design. Okay, look to the angle, how they made the circular lines. What kind of radius is this? Okay, if we measure this, we will find that the radius here is the same all the way to the end, and the same way down there the radius is perfect all the way to the end. So which means what? This can be done by, and listen to this question carefully, can I do this with a good machine, advanced machine, but carried by hand? No. It must be done by a machine run by another machine. So it's like a computer program to cut this, because if someone is holding even the best machine but with his hand and trying to cut this like we do in modern days, no, it will not create this perfect radius all the way, because every centimeter or millimeter is a potential mistake. But when we examine all the way to the end, it's still the same perfect radius. And again, don't forget that we still talk about what? About granite, very hard material. Come closer. See, this is, we call it feldspar, red feldspar, black feldspar, and those like glass shades, those are the quartz.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is full.
Yes. And there is also white feldspar, but like this is not quartz, this is white feldspar. But this is quartz, this is quartz. So here we can use a pram as a scale. You can see the size of the block. This block, my friend, no way to be less than 100 tons, even bigger than 100 tons, and that one also, and that one is even bigger at the top. Okay, so what is the story? Look, here we have very complicated things. Number one, limestone is not hard stone. Okay, we must be honest in this subject. So we can use a piece of granite to cut limestone. Okay, but here is the problem, that to have a big piece of limestone like this, we cannot go to the quarry and cut from the surface, because it has cracks, natural cracks. So to cut a big piece of stone like this, we must go deep under the quarry. With this size or bigger size, we need to have at least 20 meters or more under the quarry, under the ground. And you can see this piece, it continues also this way. It has this kind of curve corner. Okay, Why? Because they are going to put a bigger piece of granite there. Okay. So can you imagine what I'm talking about? That they don't cut this from the regular quarry. No, it is from under the quarry.
And take it from the.
Exactly. Now you figure out my second question. So we will skip the story how they cut this, which is complicated. Now we come to the second. How they take this out from this deep tunnel, and then how they brought it till here, and then how they put it above each other like this. Okay. If we do this in modern time, no way to do it except with giant crane. But the story about building a ramp from mud or from sand and they push this above the ramp, that is completely ridiculous. Okay, we need, if we do this ramp, it must be from solid concrete and will be very strong structure. Okay, here is something interesting that is my own observation, that this kind of plant, we call it the thorny plant. See it? Yes. When I see this plant, I understand that the place still have energy, still energetic. This plant, in my opinion, is an indicator to the energy because it feeds on energy. Okay? I understood that one of the main effects of the energy of the site, and you will love this information, that it is the hydration energy. It causes the hydration. That's why we always advise people to drink water while they are in the sites. شكرا يا جميل خلصنا. So most of the plants or all the plants cannot stand against this kind of dehydration energy except this plant. This plant is very strong plant and actually it feeds on this energy. That's why you find this here in the temples and also where near the railways.
That's right.
Because when the train moves, it creates static energy. And creates from the two metals, the wheel and the parts, creates kind of magnetic field.
Wow.
So this plant will find a way to feed on that energy too.
Interesting.
So what we have here, why we have mud brick wall around the place? They say or claim to protect the place from the flood. Really? You protect stone with mud against the flood? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, this is what we call it kemet. This layer, we call it kemet. Kemet means black, but not originally black. It means fertility. And this fertility comes. Here is Johnny losing his money.
Don't film this.
Okay. So this silt comes with the flood every year, and comes from where? From Central Africa, because it rains on the ancient volcanoes of Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and the water runs down to the branches of our Nile, and it comes through the Nile, and the line and come to the main part of our Nile. So this is a very rich soil, rich of minerals, more than 60 types of minerals, including cobalt, of course, some silver, but in a very small quantities, gold, iridium, copper, lead, and so more. Okay, so I see this material as perfect insulation material. So if they don't want people who are already outside the temple not to feel anything from inside, this would be the perfect material to use, insulation. So it could be used for protection if it was made during the original times, or it was used by the priest to let the people go inside the place to feel the energy and they pay the price, the offerings. Okay, so it could be built before the dynasties, it means protection, or during the dynasties, it means manipulation. Okay, so we have this perfect stuff, and look to the surfaces, polished like the best machine. So this wall was completely covered with this layer of granite. And you can see those inner carvings. This is to house the backside of the block. Okay, the backside was never polished. Look to this as an example here. Okay, this is the backside of the block, and sometimes it has like a bumpy shape. So they do this bumpy shape the opposite of the angle here. So when it puts on the sides, it stuck with the side. So you can see all of it like this way. And this is will lead me again to talk about the date of the erosions, because the erosions from outside could be from the cataclysm, but we see the erosions from inside. So this was destroyed even before the cataclysm.
Wow.
Because we can see, look to the erosions. Can you see? So this part supposed to be chiseled. So it will give new skin to the stone. But this part is also eroded. So it means what? That this eroded after it lost this casing stone. So this casing stone was already lost during the cataclysm time.
Wow.
So what's about the theory about that the Sphinx is from the beginning of the Leo era?
Exactly, because the Sphinx is looking to the east side, okay, and it was facing Leo at that age, 12,000 BC. But it could be earlier than this. It could be 24,000 BC, and it could be 36,000 BC. Like you can add 12,000 all the time. Also, this section, most of the people don't come and see it, but we come because we have here two huge blocks of granite, like this one. See how big is this piece? Okay. And it goes inside. And also this block, which is weird, this one. Look to the corner. They made the corner from the same stone, which is like for me too much work, because they had to hack the stone all the way till here. See, it's a long distance. Why they didn't just put the block as it is? No, they must make the corner like this. And they keep saying the same way for interlocking. No, I don't see it interlocking. I see it is like doing like plugging in. Because if there is an energy flow will go through, it will turn right or left. So they prepared the way to the energy. But if this was going straight and the second one was touching it with any vibrations, they can split 1 millimeter. But that is enough to disconnect. But in this case, it won't split. Okay. So we see it rough like this, but it wasn't rough. It was very smooth, super smooth. And you can see even, you cannot see the separation.
Wow.
Right? And if this was in the original shape, you would feel that it is one piece.
What do you feel is the difference in the energy conducting abilities between granite and rose granite?
Regular granite will be very weak conductive. Okay.
So it has to be rose granite.
Rose granite, because why? Look, this is also part of rose granite, but it absorbs more carbon. Okay. Rose granite has more crystal, 13%. The other types of granite, 3 or 5. So this is the best conductive material for energy. Okay.
What is the sarcophagi or the sarcophagus in the king's chamber?
Rose granite, all the
we
room.
go.
Yes, 90% of the granite used in ancient Egypt is rose granite. Okay. So let's go into the Sphinx.
Now you're truly entering the Rosicrucian mysteries.